The motion sensor lights flickered to life at exactly 2:17 a.m., casting long shadows across Jennifer Thompson's snow-dusted backyard. It was the fourth night in a row, and she knew before even looking out her bedroom window what she would find. From her second-floor vantage point, she watched as the massive black bear emerged from the tree line, its breath visible in the frigid Vermont air. But unlike the aggressive raiders that occasionally targeted trash bins in Whispering Pines, this bear moved with an almost hesitant grace, as if carrying an invisible burden. Jenny, as everyone in Cedar Grove called her, had moved to this renovated farmhouse just 8 months ago, trading her cramped Boston apartment for 5 acres of solitude. As a software developer, she could work from anywhere, and after her divorce, anywhere needed to be as far from the city as possible. The locals had warned her about the wildlife, the deer that would devour her garden, the occasional moose that might wander through, and yes, the bears that emerged from Green Mountain National Forest. But they hadn't mentioned anything about one that would return night after night, sitting beneath her bird feeder without ever touching it, staring at her house with an intensity that felt almost human. Tonight was different. The bear wasn't alone. As Jenny leaned closer to the window, her breath fogging the glass, she noticed something small and dark moving behind the massive creature. Her heart caught in her throat as a bear cub tumbled into view, significantly smaller than she expected for this time of year. The mother bear, and Jenny was certain now that she was a mother, gently nudged the cub toward the house, not toward the bird feeder or the compost bin, but toward Jenny's wraparound porch. Grabbing her phone to record what she was seeing, Jenny noticed the temperature reading, -15 degrees Fahrenheit. A brutal cold snap had descended on Vermont 3 days ago, catching many wildlife off guard. The mother bear's behavior suddenly took on a new significance. She wasn't raiding for food, she was seeking something else. The security camera feed on Jenny's phone provided a closer view, and what she saw made her question everything she thought. She knew about wild animals. The mother bear approached the porch steps, then did something extraordinary. She sat down, just sat there in the snow, and lifted her injured cub onto the first step of the porch. The cub's movement was awkward, favoring its right side, and in the harsh light of the motion sensors, Jenny could see why. The little one's left leg was badly wounded, possibly broken. Old Mr. Wilson, her closest neighbor a mile down the road, had mentioned something about poachers in the area last week. He'd heard illegal traps were being set deep in the forest, despite the local ranger's best efforts to stop it. Looking at the injured cub now, Jenny felt a surge of anger, followed by an overwhelming sense of responsibility. The mother bear had been coming here for nights, not to raid or threaten, but to ask for help in the only way she knew how. A memory surfaced from Jenny's first month in Vermont. Dr. Sarah Chen, the local veterinarian, had mentioned during a coffee run at Cedar Grove's only cafe that she occasionally worked with the wildlife rangers. "Animals are smarter than we give them credit for," she'd said. "Sometimes they know exactly where to go for help." The mother bear's eyes found Jenny's window again, and in that moment, all her precautions about wildlife safety seemed to fade away. There was something in that gaze that transcended the natural order of things, something that spoke of desperation and trust. The bear had chosen her house, chosen her night after night, waiting for understanding to dawn. Jenny's fingers trembled as she pulled up Dr. Chen's contact information. It was the middle of the night, but this couldn't wait until morning. As the phone rang, she watched the mother bear settle more firmly into the snow, positioning herself between her cub and the forest, as if standing guard against whatever dangers lurked in the darkness. The cub had curled up on the porch step, its small body shivering despite its thick fur. "Dr. Chen speaking," a groggy voice answered on the 6th ring. "This better be an emergency." "This is Jenny Thompson from the old Baker farmhouse on..." Shadow Ridge Road, Jenny said, her eyes never leaving the scene below. I have a situation here with a bear. Actually, two bears, a mother and cub. The little one's injured, probably from a trap, and, well, I think the mother brought it here deliberately. They've been coming for nights, and they're not acting like wild bears should. There was a long pause on the other end, followed by the sounds of movement. Don't move. Don't try to approach them, Dr. Chen said, suddenly fully awake. I'm calling Mike Davidson from Wildlife Services. Jenny, if what you're saying is true, this could be incredibly significant. We've had reports of unusual bear behavior in the area over the past few months, but nothing this direct. As Jenny waited, watching the mother bear maintain her vigilance, a guard, she remembered the stories she'd dismissed when she first moved here, tales from other residents about bears that seemed different, more aware. She'd written them off as small-town folklore, the kind of stories people tell newcomers. Now, standing in her darkened bedroom watching this scene unfold, she wondered what other truths she might have overlooked. Mike Davidson arrived first, his ranger truck pulling up with headlights dimmed. The mother bear turned to watch his approach but didn't flee. If anything, she seemed to relax slightly, as if recognizing the uniform or the truck's markings. Dr. Chen's SUV arrived moments later, loaded with equipment. Jenny met them at the front door, speaking in whispers, although they were well out of earshot of the bears. They haven't moved, she reported. The mother's just been sitting there, watching the house and guarding her cub. Mike's weathered face was serious as he studied the scene through his binoculars. I've been tracking this particular female for months, he revealed quietly. She's different from other bears in the area, more sophisticated in her movements. Her problem-solving, we've seen her helping younger bears avoid traps, leading lost cubs back to their mothers. It's like she's appointed herself some kind of guardian of these woods. Dr. Chen was already preparing a tranquilizer gun with practiced efficiency. The question is, she murmured, how did she know to come here? Jenny, has anything unusual happened since you moved in that might have caught her attention? Jenny thought back over the past months. I've been helping injured animals when I find them. A fox with a cut paw last month. Some hurt birds. I always called you or the wildlife center, but... She trailed off, realization dawning. You think she's been watching, learning? The bears are incredibly intelligent, Mike confirmed. And this one, well, let's just say she's special. We've been keeping tabs on her for years. Some of us even gave her a name, Aurora, because she seems to guide others through the dark. As if responding to her name, the mother bear, Aurora, turned her gaze toward them. In the illumination of the porch lights, Jenny could see what they meant about her being different. There was a depth to her eyes, an awareness that sent shivers down Jenny's spine. Aurora wasn't just some wild animal operating on instinct. She had chosen this place, this moment, these people with deliberate purpose. Dr. Chen raised the tranquilizer gun with slow, careful movements. We need to treat that cub's leg before infection sets in. The real test will be whether she lets us approach. But Aurora did more than just let them approach. As the tranquilizer dart found its mark and her cub drifted into sedated sleep, she stood guard, watching the humans work with what could only be described as trust. Jenny found herself breaking every rule about wildlife encounters, kneeling in the snow just feet from one of nature's most powerful predators, holding a flashlight so Dr. Chen could examine the cub's injury. It's definitely a trap wound, Dr. Chen confirmed grimly, but it's not too old, maybe 2 days. We got lucky. With treatment and antibiotics, he should recover fully. What happened next would change Jenny's understanding of the natural world forever. As they worked to bandage the cub's leg, Aurora did something unprecedented. She approached Jenny directly, slowly and deliberately, and extended her massive paw. Inside, it was a scrap of orange fabric, the same type used by illegal trappers to mark their trap locations. Mike's sharp intake of breath matched Jenny's own shock. "She's not just asking for help with her cub," he whispered. "She's trying to show us where the traps are." That night marked the beginning of something extraordinary in the woods around Shadow Ridge Road. Under the guard of a bear more intelligent than anyone had imagined possible, local authorities were led to and dismantled over a dozen illegal traps. Aurora, it seemed, had appointed herself not just a guardian of bears, but of all the forest's creatures, and she had chosen Jenny's home as a safe haven. In the months that followed, Jenny's farmhouse became something of a legend in Cedar Grove. Aurora and her cub, whom they named Echo, made regular visits, not as wild animals seeking food, but as something closer to guardians checking on their territory. Other injured animals began appearing near Jenny's porch, as if word had spread through the forest that this was a place of healing. Dr. Chen documented everything, building a groundbreaking study on ursine intelligence and social behavior. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. Mike Davidson expanded his wildlife protection programs, using Aurora's extraordinary examples to educate people about bear awareness and conservation. And Jenny, who had come to Vermont seeking solitude, found herself at the center of a community, not just of humans, but of something far more profound. As winter deepened into one of Vermont's coldest seasons on record, Jenny often stood at her window in the pre-dawn hours, watching Aurora patrol the edge of the forest. The bear would pause, looking up at the house with those knowing eyes, and Jenny would feel a deep sense of privilege. She had come here running away from her old life, only to be chosen by a remarkable creature who seemed to understand more about trust, courage, and community than most humans. The mystery of the lonely bear who visited night after night had transformed into something far more meaningful, a reminder that intelligence, compassion, and the capacity for connection exist in forms we might never expect. All we have to do is pay attention to the signs and be brave enough to answer when help is needed, no matter how unusual the request might seem. If you've been touched by this tale of unexpected friendship and extraordinary intelligence in the natural world, take a moment to subscribe and share this story with others who understand that the most remarkable encounters often come when we're brave enough to look past our preconceptions and see the wisdom that exists in the wild. Remember, sometimes the truest forms of intelligence and compassion come from the most unexpected sources, and the most profound connections can begin with something as simple as a bear visiting night after night, waiting for someone to understand its message. Let me know in the comments if you've ever experienced an unusual animal encounter that changed your perspective on wildlife intelligence. Your story could help others understand the remarkable bonds that can form between humans and the natural world. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more extraordinary tales of discovery, connection, and the hidden wisdom that exists all around us. The spring thaw brought new revelations to Shadow Ridge Road. As the last patches of snow melted away from Jenny's property, Aurora's nighttime visits began to reveal a pattern that no one had anticipated. The massive bear would arrive precisely at midnight, regardless of weather conditions, and she wasn't alone anymore. Behind her, like students following a teacher, came 3 younger bears, each displaying the same unusual awareness that had first caught Jenny's attention. Dr. Chen's research team had set up wildlife cameras around the property with Jenny's permission, capturing every interaction. The footage revealed something unprecedented in ursine behavior studies. Aurora wasn't just leading these younger bears, she was teaching them. They watched as she demonstrated how to identify dangerous areas, mark safe passages, and most incredibly, how to communicate with humans in ways that defied conventional understanding of wildlife behavior. On a particularly foggy morning in April, Jenny awoke to find her porch decorated with an arrangement of pine branches. At first, she dismissed it as storm debris until she reviewed the night's security footage. The recording showed Aurora and her group meticulously placing each branch in a specific pattern. Dr. Chen, arriving breathless with excitement after Jenny's call, immediately recognized the significance. The branches weren't random. They formed a crude but distinct arrow, pointing toward the eastern forest. Mike Davidson organized a small expedition to follow the bear's signal. What they discovered would reshape their understanding of bear intelligence forever. Deep in the forest, where the arrow had directed them, they found a network of crude but unmistakable markers. Broken branches arranged in patterns, stones stacked in ways that couldn't be natural, and most remarkably, a series of shallow scratches on trees that, when mapped, created a clear pathway through the most dangerous parts of the forest. "They've created their own navigation system," Mike explained, his voice filled with wonder as he documented each marker. "These signs, they're warnings about dangerous terrain, directions to water sources, markers for safe denning areas. They're not just surviving in these woods, they're actively managing them." The discovery attracted attention from wildlife researchers across the country. Dr. Elena Martinez, a renowned expert in animal cognition from the University of Michigan, arrived in Cedar Grove to witness the phenomenon firsthand. Her initial skepticism evaporated the first night she spent observing from Jenny's living room. "What we're seeing here goes beyond learned behavior or simple adaptation," Dr. Martinez declared, watching Aurora guide her group through a complex series of movements that resembled nothing so much as a training exercise. "These bears have developed their own system of communication, their own method of teaching, and most remarkably, they've found a way to bridge the gap between their world and ours." The true extent of Aurora's influence became clear as spring progressed into early summer. Jenny began finding small offerings on her porch, not just arranged branches now, but useful items, medicinal herbs that local botanists identified as having genuine healing properties, specific types of fungi known for their antibiotic qualities, and once, remarkably, a small piece of genuine gold ore that geologists later confirmed came from a previously unknown deposit in the mountains. But it was the arrival of the wounded wolf that truly demonstrated the scope of what was happening around Jenny's farmhouse. The security cameras caught the moment in stark detail, Aurora and her group escorting an injured grey wolf to the porch steps. The wolf, clearly terrified but somehow trusting, allowed itself to be led by these bears who should have been its natural adversaries. Dr. Chen's examination of the wolf revealed a deep gash that would have proved fatal without intervention. "This goes against everything we know about interspecies behavior," she said, carefully cleaning the wound while Aurora watched from a respectful distance. "These bears aren't just displaying advanced intelligence. They're actively working to maintain the health of the entire ecosystem." The wolf's presence attracted the attention of Dr. James Blackwood, a controversial figure in wildlife biology known for his theories about advanced animal consciousness. Despite initial resistance from some members of the research team, his observations proved invaluable in understanding the broader implications of what was happening in Whispering Pines. "What we're witnessing here isn't just evolved behavior," Dr. Blackwood explained, watching Aurora interact with her growing network of animal allies. "These bears have developed what we can only describe as a form of cultural transmission. They're not just passing on survival skills, they're sharing a complete system of knowledge about their environment, including how to interact with humans in non-threatening ways." Jenny's role in all of this evolved as well. She found herself maintaining detailed journals of every interaction, every pattern she observed. Her background in software development proved unexpectedly useful as she began creating algorithms to analyze the bears' behavior patterns, finding mathematical consistencies in their movements that suggested an even deeper level of organization than anyone had initially suspected. The property itself transformed to accommodate its new purpose. The old barn, with Dr. Chen's guidance, was converted into a wildlife treatment center. Local authorities, recognizing the unique nature of what was happening, fast-tracked the permits needed to establish an official wildlife sanctuary around Jenny's land. The 5 acres became a model for human-wildlife cooperation, drawing fascinated observers from around the world. As summer approached its peak, Aurora's teaching methods became more sophisticated. The younger bears were now actively participating in rescue operations, showing remarkable judgment in assessing which animals needed human intervention and which could be helped through their own healing techniques. They developed a system of vocalizations that, while not exactly language, demonstrated clear, intentional communication. Mr. Wilson, who had initially been skeptical of the entire situation, became one of its most dedicated observers. His decades of experience in the woods gave him unique insight into just how extraordinary these developments were. "In 50 years of living here," he said one evening, watching Aurora lead a training session with her group, "I've seen these woods change in ways I never thought possible." These bears aren't just smart, they're showing us a whole new way of thinking about our relationship with the wild. The impact on the local ecosystem was profound. Reports of injured wildlife decreased significantly in areas where Aurora's group patrolled. The illegal trapping activity that had once plagued the region ceased entirely. Whether due to official enforcement or the bears' intervention remained unclear. Other bear populations in the region began showing signs of adopting similar behaviors, suggesting that the knowledge was spreading beyond Aurora's immediate group. Dr. Martinez's ongoing research revealed patterns that challenged conventional understanding of animal intelligence. The bears demonstrated not only problem-solving abilities, but also emotional intelligence, showing clear empathy not just for their own kind, but for other species as well. They seemed to understand concepts like injury and healing, demonstrating an awareness of cause and effect that went far beyond instinct. One particularly compelling incident occurred when Aurora's group encountered a family of hikers who had strayed from the main trail. Instead of avoiding them or showing aggression, the bears carefully herded them back towards safety, using the same gentle guidance techniques they employed with injured animals. The incident, captured on the hikers' phones, went viral, leading to increased interest in the sanctuary's work. Jenny found herself at the center of an evolving understanding of wildlife consciousness. Her home became a gathering place not just for animals seeking help, but for researchers, conservationists, and wildlife enthusiasts hoping to witness this remarkable phenomenon. Through it all, Aurora remained a constant presence, her intelligent eyes seeming to hold secrets that humans were only beginning to understand. The relationship between Jenny and Aurora deepened in unexpected ways. The bear seemed to recognize, at times when Jenny was stressed or troubled, choosing those moments to demonstrate something new or bring some small gift that would capture her attention and lift her spirits. It was as if the bear understood not just physical healing, but emotional healing as well. Dr. Blackwood's ongoing studies suggested that what they were witnessing might be just the beginning. These bears have shown us that the boundaries between human and animal consciousness are far more permeable than we ever imagined, he wrote in his preliminary findings. They've developed a sophisticated system of cooperation that bridges species barriers, suggesting possibilities we've never considered before. As word of the sanctuary's work spread, other communities began reporting similar, if less developed, behaviors in their local wildlife populations. It seemed that Aurora's influence was creating a ripple effect, changing not just her immediate environment, but potentially reshaping human-wildlife relationships on a broader scale. The scientific implications were staggering, but for Jenny, the most profound impact was personal. She had come to Vermont seeking escape and solitude, only to find herself at the heart of something that challenged everything she thought she knew about consciousness, intelligence, and the connections possible between species. The lonely bear who had visited night after night had opened a door to understanding that she never could have imagined existed. As summer began its slow transition into autumn, Jenny stood on her porch one evening, watching Aurora lead her growing group through their evening routine. The setting sun painted the sky in brilliant oranges and purples, casting long shadows across the yard where just months ago she had first witnessed something extraordinary. A cool breeze carried the scent of pine and approaching rain, and in the distance, a wolf's howl echoed. Not a cry of loneliness now, but a song of connection to this remarkable place where the boundaries between wild and tame, between human and animal understanding, had grown beautifully, impossibly thin. The autumn winds brought change to Shadow Ridge Road, carrying with them an unexpected discovery that would test the bounds of everything Jenny and the research team thought they understood about Aurora and her extraordinary group. It began with the mysterious disappearance of several memory cards from the wildlife cameras, an occurrence that initially seemed like simple equipment malfunction until patterns emerged. The cameras would go dark precisely during the new moon, their memory cards vanishing only to reappear days later in carefully arranged formations on Jenny's porch. When Dr. Chen recovered the first missing card, what she found on it defied explanation. The footage showed Aurora's group engaging in what could only be described as ritualistic behavior, gathering in perfect circles under the moonless sky, moving with a synchronization that suggested something far more complex than mere instinct or learned behavior. Dr. Martinez flew back from Michigan immediately upon receiving the footage. "This isn't just advanced intelligence anymore," she explained, reviewing the videos frame by frame in Jenny's living room. "These bears are exhibiting signs of cultural behavior that we've never documented in any non-primate species. They're not just communicating, they're performing what appears to be a form of knowledge transfer that we don't even have terminology to describe." The footage revealed Aurora teaching her group complex sequences of movements, each bear taking turns leading, while others observed and replicated the patterns. But it was what happened at the end of these sessions that truly shattered their understanding. The bears would gather around what appeared to be crude tools, stones shaped into specific forms, branches stripped and notched in particular patterns, and most incredibly, arrangements of natural materials that bore uncomfortable resemblances to early human artistic expressions. Mike Davidson, who had been tracking unusual reports from other parts of the forest, brought forward evidence that similar behavior was spreading. "We're finding these arranged stones and marked trees across 50 square miles now," he reported, spreading maps across Jenny's kitchen table. "The patterns are consistent, but they're evolving. It's like they're developing their own form of written communication." The discovery attracted the attention of Dr. Sarah Whitman, a leading expert in primitive human communications from Harvard University. Her arrival at the sanctuary marked a turning point in their understanding of what was unfolding. "What we're seeing here," she explained, examining the artifacts left behind by Aurora's group, "bears striking similarities to how early human societies began developing symbolic communication systems. These aren't random arrangements. They're deliberate attempts to record and transmit information." Jenny's software development background proved crucial in documenting and analyzing these patterns. She developed an AI algorithm to track and categorize the bear's symbolic arrangements, revealing consistencies that couldn't be dismissed as coincidence. The bears were creating a sophisticated system of markers that combined physical arrangements, natural materials, and specific locations to convey complex messages about everything from weather patterns to the movements of other wildlife species. The implications of these discoveries sent shockwaves through the scientific community. Dr. Blackwood's earlier theories about advanced animal consciousness seemed almost conservative in light of the new evidence. The bears weren't just displaying intelligence. They were exhibiting signs of cultural evolution that challenged fundamental assumptions about the development of consciousness itself. One crisp October morning, Jenny woke to find Aurora alone on her porch, methodically arranging small stones, in a pattern that Dr. Whitman would later identify as bearing remarkable similarities to ancient Celtic protection symbols. The bear's deliberate movements, captured on Jenny's phone, showed a level of precision and intent that left no doubt about the consciousness behind the action. The sanctuary's focus shifted from rehabilitation to documentation and study. Research. Teams from major universities arrived to observe and record the bear's activities, each bringing their own expertise to help understand different aspects of this extraordinary phenomenon. Dr. Chen's veterinary knowledge, combined with Dr. Whitman's archaeological experience, created a unique framework for interpreting the bear's evolving behaviors. Mr. Wilson, whose initial skepticism had long since transformed into passionate advocacy, began sharing stories of similar patterns he'd observed decades ago, but had dismissed. "My grandfather used to talk about bears that were different," he recalled one evening, watching Aurora's group through binoculars. Bears that would lead lost hunters home, that would warn communities about coming storms. We all thought they were just stories, but now I wonder how long this has really been going on. The bear's influence on the local ecosystem continued to evolve in unexpected ways. Other wildlife species began exhibiting changed behavior patterns, showing increased sophistication in their interactions with both the bears and humans. The wolf pack that had formed around the healed wolf now regularly participated in Aurora's nighttime gatherings, suggesting an unprecedented level of interspecies cooperation. Dr. Martinez's ongoing research revealed that the bear's symbolic communication system was adapting and becoming more complex. They began incorporating new elements, specific arrangements of colored stones, patterns created with different types of vegetation, and most remarkably, what appeared to be intentional modifications to natural features in the landscape to create permanent markers. Jenny found herself spending hours documenting these developments, her computer skills allowing her to create detailed databases of the bear's evolving communication methods. She noticed that the complexity of their symbols increased during times of environmental stress or when new challenges emerged, suggesting a direct relationship between their symbolic expression and problem-solving needs. The arrival of Dr. Thomas Richardson, a climatologist from the National Weather Service, added another layer to their understanding. The bear's behavior patterns and symbol arrangements showed strong correlations with approaching weather systems, sometimes predicting significant weather events days before conventional forecasting methods detected them. As autumn deepened, Aurora's group began creating more elaborate arrangements, often incorporating materials from different ecosystems. Within the forest, Dr. Whitman's analysis suggested these compositions might represent a form of mapping, not just of physical spaces, but of relationships between different species and environmental factors. The bears' nighttime gatherings became more frequent, and their symbolic arrangements more complex. Jenny's security cameras captured Aurora, teaching younger bears specific sequences of movements that corresponded with particular arrangements of materials. It appeared they were developing a kind of physical language that combined movement, symbol, and location to convey complex information. Local indigenous leaders, invited to observe the phenomena, shared stories of ancient connections between humans and bears that suddenly seemed less like legends and more like historical records. Their traditional knowledge offered new perspectives on interpreting the bear's behavior and suggested that what they were witnessing might be the re-emergence of something very old rather than the development of something new. The sanctuary's reputation grew, attracting attention from environmental protection agencies and conservation groups worldwide. The bears demonstrated intelligence and sophisticated communication methods, provided powerful arguments for enhanced wildlife protection and conservation efforts. Their ability to adapt and respond to environmental challenges offered valuable insights into wildlife adaptation in the face of climate change. Jenny's property transformed into a living laboratory where the boundaries between human and animal intelligence blurred and shifted daily. The bears' influence extended beyond their immediate group, creating ripple effects throughout the ecosystem that challenged conventional understanding of wildlife behavior and intelligence. Dr. Chen's ongoing medical observations revealed another stunning development. The bears appeared to be actively experimenting with different combinations of medicinal plants, creating what could only be described as rudimentary pharmaceutical preparations. They would gather specific combinations of herbs and fungi carefully, arrange them in distinct patterns, and apply them to injured animals in their care. The research team documented cases where these natural remedies proved remarkably effective, leading to collaboration with pharmaceutical researchers interested in analyzing the bear's botanical knowledge. Aurora's group seemed to possess an extensive understanding of the healing properties of local plants, knowledge they appeared to be actively expanding through trial and error. As the leaves turned golden and red across Shadow Ridge Road, Jenny often found herself reflecting on the extraordinary journey that had begun with the lonely bear's nighttime visits. What had started as a simple act of compassion had evolved into something that challenged fundamental assumptions about consciousness, intelligence, and the relationships possible between species. The bear's symbolic communication system continued to evolve, becoming more sophisticated with each passing week. They began creating more permanent installations in the forest, arrangements of stones and natural materials that served as lasting records of their growing knowledge. These installations formed a network of information points throughout their territory, marking everything from safe passages to locations of medicinal plants. As autumn began its transition toward winter, the research team prepared for a new phase of observation. The approaching cold season would present new challenges and opportunities to understand how Aurora's group adapted their communication and teaching methods to changing environmental conditions. What had begun as a mystery of a lonely bear's repeated visits had transformed into one of the most significant wildlife studies in history, promising to reshape our understanding of animal intelligence and consciousness in ways that would ripple through scientific and philosophical discussions for generations to come. The first snowfall of winter brought with it an unprecedented change in Aurora's behavior that would reshape the entire understanding of the Shadow Ridge Sanctuary. On a bitter December morning, as crystalline flakes swirled through the pre-dawn air, Jenny awoke to an unusual silence. The regular sounds of wildlife that typically surrounded her farmhouse had ceased entirely, replaced by an expectant hush that seemed to hold the forest in its grip. Through her frost-etched windows, Jenny observed Aurora performing what appeared to be a new ritual. The massive bear stood upright at the edge of the clearing, her form silhouetted against the growing light, methodically marking trees in a pattern never before documented. Dr. Whitman, who had remained at the sanctuary to continue her research. Through the winter months, recognized the significance immediately. "These aren't just territorial markings," she explained, examining the fresh scratches that ran in precise geometric patterns up the trunk of an ancient oak. "This is something entirely different, a form of recording that combines spatial awareness with temporal markers. She's creating what amounts to a calendar system." The discovery sparked intense interest from Dr. Rafael Mendoza, a specialist in archaeoastronomy who had been following the sanctuary's research from afar. His arrival at Shadow Ridge brought new perspective to Aurora's activities. The bear's markings, when mapped across multiple trees, aligned perfectly with celestial events, the winter solstice, lunar phases, and other astronomical phenomena that shouldn't have held any significance for a conventional bear. As winter deepened its hold on the Vermont wilderness, Aurora's group began constructing what the research team came to call winter libraries, carefully maintained spaces beneath the snow where they gathered and arranged objects of apparent significance. These caches contained collections of specially marked stones, preserved plants, and other items arranged in patterns that suggested a sophisticated system of knowledge storage. Jenny's background in data architecture proved invaluable in documenting these developments. She created complex digital models of the bear's information storage systems, revealing organizational principles that reflected a startling grasp of categorical thinking. The bears weren't just collecting items, they were creating a physical database of environmental knowledge. The winter brought another surprising development when Aurora's group began actively seeking out human technology. Security cameras captured the bears examining the research team's equipment with obvious interest, not to damage it, but to understand its function. On several occasions, they were observed deliberately positioning objects within camera range, as if using the devices to document their own activities. Dr. Chen's ongoing veterinary observations revealed that the bears had developed sophisticated methods for surviving the harsh winter conditions. They created insulated dens using techniques that showed clear evidence of planning and engineering, incorporating natural materials in ways that maximized heat retention while allowing for proper ventilation. The arrival of Dr. Sophia Patel, an expert in animal cognition from Oxford University, brought new insights into the bear's winter behavior. Her specialized equipment detected patterns in the bear's vocalizations that suggested a level of linguistic complexity previously thought impossible in non-human species. The bears appeared to be using different sound frequencies to convey specific types of information, creating what amounted to a primitive but effective form of language. Mr. Wilson's decades of winter wildlife observation provided crucial context for understanding how extraordinary these developments truly were. "Normal bears hibernate," he explained during one of the research team's evening briefings. "What we're seeing here isn't just unusual behavior, it's a complete departure from basic ursine biology. These bears aren't just staying active, they're using the winter months to develop and refine their communication systems." The sanctuary's reputation continued to grow, attracting attention from unexpected quarters. Dr. Elizabeth Morgan, a prominent researcher in artificial intelligence, arrived to study the bears' problem-solving methodologies. She found that their approach to handling complex challenges often paralleled advanced AI learning algorithms, suggesting forms of cognitive processing that defied conventional understanding of animal intelligence. One particularly cold morning, in January, Jenny discovered that Aurora had arranged a series of objects on her porch in what appeared to be a deliberate attempt at mathematical communication. The items, stones, sticks, and pine cones, were grouped in ways that demonstrated understanding of basic numerical concepts. Dr. Morgan's analysis revealed patterns that suggested comprehension of not just counting, but basic arithmetic relationships. The bear's influence on the local ecosystem continued to evolve in fascinating ways. Other wildlife species began adopting similar communication methods, creating a network of information exchange that transformed the entire forest into what Dr. Blackwood termed a living library of animal intelligence. The wolves, in particular, showed remarkable adaptation, integrating their own social structures with the bear's knowledge-sharing systems. Jenny's documentation of these developments grew more sophisticated as she developed new software tools to track and analyze the emerging patterns. Her algorithms detected subtle correlations between the bear's activities and environmental factors, suggesting their behavior was not just reactive, but predictive, anticipating changes in weather patterns and animal migrations weeks in advance. Dr. Martinez's return to the sanctuary in midwinter brought new perspectives on the bear's cognitive development. Her specialized tests revealed that Aurora's group had developed methods for abstract thinking that challenged fundamental assumptions about animal consciousness. They demonstrated ability to solve problems through mental modeling rather than trial and error, suggesting a form of consciousness previously attributed only to higher primates. The winter nights at Shadow Ridge became a time of extraordinary observation. The bears would gather in moonlit clearings, engaging in what appeared to be teaching sessions with younger members of their group. These sessions combined physical demonstration with symbolic communication, creating a complex educational system that Dr. Whitman compared to early human cultural transmission methods. Local indigenous elders, continuing their collaboration with the research team, shared ancient stories that seemed to predict these developments. Their traditional knowledge spoke of times when bears served as teachers and guardians of environmental wisdom, suggesting that what they were witnessing might be the re-emergence of ancient patterns rather than entirely new behavior. The sanctuary's winter research program expanded to include studies of the bear's impact on forest ecology. Dr. Thomas Richardson's climate research revealed that areas under Aurora's group's influence showed increased resilience to environmental stress. The bears' management of their territory through their sophisticated communication and teaching systems was actually improving ecosystem health. Jenny's role evolved beyond simple documentation. Her deep understanding of data patterns helped the research team identify subtle connections between different aspects of the bear's behavior. She developed predictive models that could anticipate when and where the bears would engage in specific types of communication or teaching activities. As winter reached its peak, Aurora's group began creating more permanent installations throughout their territory. These carefully constructed arrangements of natural materials served as what Dr. Whitman termed information nodes, physical locations where knowledge was stored and shared through sophisticated combinations of markings, objects, and spatial relationships. The bears' medical knowledge continued to expand, with Dr. Chen documenting their use of increasingly complex combinations of medicinal plants. They developed methods for preserving these materials through the winter months, creating storage systems that protected the efficacy of their natural remedies while making them accessible when needed. The research team's understanding of the bear's intelligence underwent constant revision as new evidence emerged. Their ability to adapt their communication methods to interact with humans and other species suggested levels of cognitive flexibility that went beyond simple learning or conditioning. They showed clear evidence of abstract thinking, planning, and even what appeared to be metacognition, awareness of their own thought processes. As February approached, bringing with it the promise of eventual spring, the sanctuary had transformed into a globally recognized center for the study of animal intelligence. The bears' winter activities had demonstrated conclusively that their cognitive abilities weren't just an interesting anomaly, but represented a fundamental shift in our understanding of animal consciousness. Jenny often found herself standing at her window in the deep of night, watching Aurora's group engage in their mysterious activities under the winter stars. The lonely bear who had first appeared at her home had initiated a journey of discovery that was reshaping not just scientific understanding, but human perspective on their relationship with the natural world. The winter's research had revealed something profound about the nature of intelligence itself. Aurora's group had demonstrated that consciousness and complex thinking weren't uniquely human attributes, but could manifest in forms that challenged our basic assumptions about the boundaries between species. Their sophisticated methods of knowledge storage and transmission suggested that what humans recognized as intelligence might be just one expression of a much broader spectrum of cognitive capabilities in the natural world. Late February brought an unexpected visitor to Shadow Ridge that would dramatically alter the course of the sanctuary's research. Dr. Marcus Chen, no relation to the local veterinarian, arrived unannounced one stormy evening, his credentials from the National Science Foundation impeccable, and his interest in Aurora's group intense. His specialty, he explained to Jenny over steaming mugs of coffee, was in evolutionary biology, with a focus on accelerated adaptation patterns in large mammals. The timing of his arrival coincided with a remarkable change in Aurora's behavior. The bear had begun creating elaborate designs in the snow, using her massive paws to sweep precise geometric patterns that, when viewed from above using the sanctuary's drone cameras, formed complex mathematical relationships. Dr. Chen's expertise provided crucial insight into what they were witnessing. These patterns, he explained, examining the aerial footage in Jenny's living room, show understanding of geometric principles that suggest not just intelligence, but a grasp of abstract mathematical concepts. The symmetry, the recursive patterns, these aren't random. They're demonstrations of mathematical thinking that we typically associate with advanced cognitive development. The research team's excitement grew as they documented Aurora teaching these concepts to her group. The younger bears learned to replicate the patterns with increasing precision, adding their own variations that suggested genuine understanding rather than simple mimicry. Dr. Morgan's AI analysis revealed that the bears were creating what amounted to a physical representation of mathematical principles, using snow as their medium. Jenny's software development background proved crucial in capturing and analyzing these developments. She created programs that could track the evolution of the bears' geometric expressions, revealing progressions that suggested they were building upon their understanding, developing increasingly complex mathematical concepts through physical representation. Dr. Patel's ongoing study of the bears' vocalizations revealed another breakthrough. The bears had begun incorporating different tonal patterns when creating their snow designs, suggesting they were developing an audio component to their mathematical communication. The combination of physical patterns and specific vocalizations created what she termed a multimodal mathematical language. The sanctuary's focus shifted to understanding the implications of these developments. Dr. Chen's research suggested they were witnessing more than just learned behavior or environmental adaptation. The bears appeared to be undergoing an accelerated form of cognitive evolution, developing new neural pathways that allowed for increasingly sophisticated, abstract thinking. March arrived with warming temperatures that revealed new aspects of the bears' capabilities. As the snow began to melt, Aurora's group started creating permanent versions of their mathematical patterns using stones and fallen branches. These installations, carefully maintained and regularly modified, seemed to serve as teaching tools for younger bears and other species drawn to the sanctuary. The arrival of Dr. Maria Rossi, a prominent neuroscientist, added another layer to their understanding. Using non-invasive monitoring equipment, she detected unusual brain activity patterns in Aurora's group that suggested their neural networks were organizing in ways previously unseen in non-human species. The bear's brains showed evidence of developing new structures specifically related to abstract thinking and symbolic representation. Local schools began organizing carefully supervised visits to the sanctuary, allowing students to observe the bear's mathematical demonstrations from safe distances. The impact on the children's understanding of both mathematics and animal intelligence was profound. Many reported that watching the bears work through geometric concepts helped them grasp mathematical principles they had struggled with in traditional classroom settings. Mr. Wilson's continuous presence at the sanctuary provided valuable historical context. He remembered stories from his grandfather about bears that seemed to understand numbers, creating patterns in forest clearings that old-timers used to predict weather patterns and seasonal changes. What had once seemed like folklore now appeared to be early documentation of this remarkable cognitive development. The sanctuary's reputation attracted attention from mathematical societies worldwide. Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka, a renowned mathematician from Tokyo University, arrived to study the bear's geometric expressions. His analysis revealed that some of their more complex patterns demonstrated understanding of mathematical principles that humans hadn't discovered until relatively recent history. Jenny found herself at the intersection of technology and natural science, developing increasingly sophisticated tools to document and analyze the bear's mathematical communications. Her programs began detecting patterns that suggested the bears were not just representing known mathematical concepts, but potentially developing new ones through their unique perspective on spatial relationships. The impact on the scientific community was profound. Traditional boundaries between disciplines began to blur as mathematicians, biologists, and cognitive scientists worked together to understand what was unfolding at Shadow Ridge. The bear's demonstrations challenged fundamental assumptions about the nature of mathematical thinking and its relationship to consciousness. Dr. Chen's research revealed that the younger bears were learning mathematical concepts at an accelerated rate, suggesting that each generation was building upon the cognitive developments of the previous one. The speed of this evolution challenged conventional understanding of how intelligence develops and spreads within species. The bear's influence extended beyond their own group. Other animals in the sanctuary began showing interest in their mathematical demonstrations, particularly the wolves and ravens, who started creating their own variations of geometric patterns. This cross-species transmission of mathematical concepts suggested possibilities for cognitive development that no one had previously considered. As spring approached, Aurora's group began incorporating seasonal changes into their mathematical expressions. Their patterns evolved to reflect the changing angles of sunlight, the movements of migratory birds, and other natural phenomena, creating what Dr. Tanaka described as a physical representation of environmental calculus. The sanctuaries. Research expanded to include studies of how the bears' mathematical understanding influenced their problem-solving abilities. They demonstrated remarkable efficiency in calculating optimal paths through difficult terrain, determining the most effective use of resources, and even predicting complex weather patterns through their geometric representations. Local indigenous leaders continued sharing historical knowledge that suggested their ancestors had recognized and learned from bears' mathematical abilities. Ancient stories spoke of bears as teachers of natural geometry, using their understanding to help humans navigate and predict natural cycles. Dr. Rossi's neurological studies revealed that the bears' brains showed increased development in areas associated with spatial reasoning and abstract thinking. The physical act of creating geometric patterns appeared to be strengthening neural pathways associated with mathematical understanding, suggesting a direct relationship between physical expression and cognitive development. The sanctuary's educational outreach program grew, with carefully designed observation programs allowing students and researchers to study the bear's mathematical demonstrations. The impact on mathematical education was significant, as teachers began incorporating insights from the bear's physical approach to geometric concepts into their teaching methods. Jenny's role evolved to include developing educational software that translated the bear's mathematical expressions into teaching tools. Her programs helped students understand complex mathematical concepts by showing how the bears represented them physically, creating a bridge between abstract mathematics and natural world observations. The implications for artificial intelligence research were equally profound. Dr. Morgan's studies suggested that the bear's approach to mathematical thinking offered new models for machine learning, particularly in areas involving spatial reasoning and pattern recognition. Their methods of physical mathematical expression provided insights into how intelligence could develop through interaction with the environment. As March progressed, the bears began creating more elaborate mathematical installations throughout their territory. These permanent structures served as both teaching tools and records of their growing understanding, forming what Dr. Tanaka described as a physical library of mathematical knowledge. The research team's understanding of animal intelligence underwent constant revision as they documented the bears' growing mathematical capabilities. Their ability to grasp and express complex mathematical concepts suggested levels of cognitive development that challenged fundamental assumptions about the nature of intelligence itself. Spring's approach brought new dimensions to the bears. Mathematical expressions. They began incorporating temporal elements into their patterns, creating designs that changed meaning with the passage of time and the movement of shadows. This four-dimensional approach to mathematical representation suggested understanding of concepts that many human students struggled to grasp. The sanctuary had become a living laboratory where the boundaries between human and animal intelligence blurred in unexpected ways. Aurora's group had demonstrated that mathematical thinking wasn't uniquely human, but could manifest in forms that challenged traditional understanding of cognitive development and expression. These developments suggested possibilities that extended far beyond the original scope of the sanctuary's research. The bears' mathematical abilities raised questions about the nature of intelligence itself and humanity's place in the spectrum of conscious thought. Their achievements suggested that what humans recognized as advanced thinking might be just one expression of a much broader range of cognitive capabilities present in the natural world. Early spring brought an unexpected breakthrough at Shadow Ridge when a series of violent thunderstorms swept through the Vermont wilderness, leading to a discovery that would transform the scientific community's understanding of Aurora's capabilities. The bears' response to the atmospheric disturbance revealed an entirely new dimension of their intelligence that no one had anticipated. Dr. Emily Thorne, an atmospheric physicist who had recently joined the research team, noticed something peculiar in the bears' behavior hours before the first storm struck. Aurora and her group began creating intricate patterns of broken branches and stones that, when mapped, bore striking similarities to weather radar imagery. The implications were staggering. The bears weren't just predicting the weather, they were modeling it with remarkable precision. The sanctuary's advanced meteorological equipment installed during the winter studies confirmed what the bears were demonstrating. Their arrangements accurately depicted the approaching storm systems, including details about wind patterns and precipitation intensity that even modern weather radar struggled to capture with such precision. Dr. Thorne's Expertise proved crucial in understanding the significance of what they were witnessing. Jenny's technological background allowed her to create sophisticated modeling software that compared the bears' weather representations with actual meteorological data. The correlations were undeniable. Aurora's group had developed a method of physical weather modeling that rivaled computer-generated forecasts in accuracy. Their understanding of atmospheric dynamics suggested a grasp of fluid mechanics that should have been impossible for non-human intelligence. The arrival of Dr. Victor Ramirez, a specialist in biometeorological phenomena, brought new perspective to these developments. His research suggested that the bears had developed heightened sensitivity to electromagnetic fields and atmospheric pressure changes. But what made their achievements extraordinary was their ability to translate these sensations into accurate physical models that others could understand and learn from. Aurora's teaching methods evolved to incorporate these weather prediction capabilities into her regular instruction of younger bears. The research team observed as she guided her students through the creation of increasingly complex atmospheric models, using natural materials to represent different weather phenomena. The younger bears learned to read and replicate these patterns with growing accuracy, demonstrating that this knowledge could be effectively transmitted between generations. Mr. Wilson's decades of observation provided valuable historical context. He recalled how his grandfather had spoken of bears that could smell the weather coming, but what they were witnessing went far beyond simple instinctive awareness of atmospheric changes. These bears were developing and teaching a sophisticated system of meteorological modeling that combined sensory input with abstract representation. The sanctuary's reputation attracted attention from meteorological institutes worldwide. Dr. Akiko Yamamoto, a leading researcher in atmospheric sciences from the Tokyo Weather Service, arrived to study the bears' weather prediction methods. Her analysis revealed that their modeling system incorporated variables that modern meteorology was only beginning to understand, particularly in relation to the interaction between geographical features and atmospheric patterns. The bears' influence on local wildlife continued to expand in fascinating ways. Other animals began responding to their weather warnings, taking shelter or relocating based on the bears' atmospheric modeling displays. This created a network of weather-aware wildlife that significantly reduced storm-related casualties in the sanctuary's territory. Jenny's role evolved to include developing new software tools that could translate the bears' physical weather models into digital formats. Her programs helped bridge the gap between the bears' intuitive understanding of atmospheric dynamics and conventional meteorological science, revealing patterns and relationships that traditional weather modeling had overlooked. The spring storms provided numerous opportunities to document and study the bears' weather prediction capabilities. Their accuracy in forecasting not just the timing, but the specific characteristics of approaching weather systems suggested an understanding of atmospheric physics that challenged fundamental assumptions about animal intelligence and sensory perception. Dr. Thorne's ongoing research revealed that the bears had developed methods for detecting subtle atmospheric changes that current technology couldn't match. Their ability to integrate multiple environmental signals, from electromagnetic fluctuations to infrasonic vibrations, into accurate weather predictions, represented a level of sensory integration previously unknown in the animal kingdom. The educational implications of these discoveries were significant. Local schools began incorporating observations of the bears' weather modeling techniques into their earth science programs. Students learned to recognize and interpret the bears' weather prediction patterns, gaining new perspective on the relationship between wildlife and environmental dynamics. The sanctuary's research expanded to include studies of how the bears' weather awareness influenced their ecosystem management strategies. Their ability to anticipate and prepare for severe weather events had led to the development of sophisticated protective measures that benefited the entire forest community. They created shelter systems and emergency food caches that other animals learned to use during severe weather events. Dr. Ramirez's studies revealed that the bear's weather prediction abilities extended beyond simple storm forecasting. They demonstrated understanding of seasonal patterns, climate trends, and long-term atmospheric changes that suggested comprehension of global weather systems. Their modeling techniques incorporated elements of both short-term weather prediction and long-term climate analysis. The impact on meteorological science was profound. The bear's methods of physical weather modeling offered new insights into atmospheric dynamics that led to improvements in conventional weather forecasting systems. Their intuitive understanding of how geographic features influence local weather patterns provided valuable data for enhancing regional weather predictions. As spring progressed, Aurora's group began creating more permanent weather monitoring stations throughout their territory. These carefully maintained installations combined natural materials with precise geometric arrangements to create what amounted to organic weather stations. Each installation was regularly updated and modified to reflect changing atmospheric conditions. The research team's understanding of animal sensory capabilities underwent significant revision as they documented the bear's atmospheric awareness. Their ability to detect and interpret subtle environmental changes suggested possibilities for enhanced weather prediction that combined animal sensory capabilities with modern technology. Jenny found herself working at the intersection of natural and technological weather prediction systems. Her software development skills proved crucial in creating programs that could interpret and analyze the bear's weather modeling techniques, translating their intuitive understanding into data that could enhance conventional forecasting methods. The sanctuary's focus expanded to include studies of how the bear's weather prediction capabilities influence their social organization. Their shared understanding of atmospheric dynamics had led to the development of sophisticated cooperative behaviors, particularly in preparing for and responding to severe weather events. Dr. Yamamoto's research revealed that the bear's weather modeling techniques incorporated elements that suggested understanding of chaos theory and complex systems dynamics. Their ability to predict highly localized weather phenomena demonstrated grasp of atmospheric principles that went beyond simple pattern recognition. The implications for climate science were equally significant. The bear's long-term weather modeling suggested awareness of changing climate patterns that offered new perspectives on how wildlife might adapt to global environmental changes. Their methods of recording and transmitting this information provided valuable insights into wildlife adaptation strategies. As spring flowers began blooming across Shadow Ridge, the sanctuary had transformed into a unique center for the study of biological weather prediction capabilities. Aurora's group had demonstrated that sophisticated understanding of atmospheric dynamics wasn't limited to human science, but could develop through alternative forms of intelligence and sensory perception. These developments suggested possibilities that extended far beyond conventional meteorological science. The bear's weather prediction abilities raised fundamental questions about the nature of environmental awareness and the potential for developing forecasting systems that combined animal sensory capabilities with modern technology. Their achievements suggested new approaches to understanding and predicting atmospheric phenomena that could revolutionize weather science. The spring rains brought new dimensions to the bear's weather modeling capabilities as they began incorporating hydrological elements into their predictions. Their understanding of how water movement influenced weather patterns led to the development of more comprehensive modeling techniques that considered both atmospheric and terrestrial water cycles. The research team's understanding of animal intelligence continued to evolve as they documented the bears' growing weather prediction capabilities. Their ability to grasp and model complex atmospheric dynamics suggested levels of cognitive development that challenged conventional understanding of animal consciousness and sensory awareness. Late spring brought an astonishing development to Shadow Ridge when Aurora's group began exhibiting behavior that suggested advanced technological understanding. The catalyst for this revelation came during a routine maintenance check of the sanctuary's solar panel array. Jenny noticed the bears had started arranging reflective materials, bits of mica, polished stones, and even fragments of naturally occurring quartz, in patterns that mimicked the solar panel's configuration. Dr. Catherine Zhang, a renewable energy specialist who visited the sanctuary to upgrade its power systems, was the first to recognize the significance of these arrangements. The bears weren't simply copying what they saw. They were creating their own solar collection systems, positioning reflective materials at precise angles to concentrate sunlight for specific purposes. The research team observed as Aurora taught younger bears to identify materials with the right reflective properties and position them optimally to capture sunlight. These natural solar arrays were being used to warm specific areas of the forest floor, creating microenvironments that encouraged the growth of medicinal plants and fungi the bears used in their healing practices. Jenny's background in software development proved invaluable in documenting and analyzing these developments. She created programs to track the efficiency of the bears' solar arrangements, revealing that their intuitive understanding of light physics often matched or exceeded human engineering principles. The bears demonstrated grasp of concepts like focal points, reflection angles, and energy concentration that suggested sophisticated comprehension of physical sciences. The arrival of Dr. Benjamin Foster, an expert in biomimicry and sustainable technology, brought new perspective to these discoveries. His research revealed that the bears weren't just replicating human technology. They were developing their own unique approaches to energy harvesting that incorporated natural materials in ways that human engineers hadn't considered. Aurora's teaching methods evolved to include detailed instruction in identifying and positioning materials for optimal energy collection. The research team watched as she guided younger bears through the process of testing different materials for their reflective properties, demonstrating an understanding of scientific methodology that challenged conventional views of animal intelligence. Mr. Wilson's historical knowledge once again provided valuable context. He remembered stories of bears creating sunny clearings in specific forest locations, behavior that had been dismissed as random but now appeared to be early manifestations of their understanding of solar energy manipulation. The sanctuary's reputation attracted attention from environmental technology institutes worldwide. Dr. Marianne Dupont, a leading researcher in sustainable energy systems from the École Polytechnique in Paris, arrived to study the bears' natural solar technology. Her analysis revealed that their methods of energy concentration and distribution offered new insights for human solar engineering. The bears' influence extended to other aspects of environmental engineering. They began creating sophisticated water management systems, using their understanding of solar energy to influence water flow and temperature in ways that benefited the entire ecosystem. Their modifications created sustainable water sources that remained accessible even during dry periods. Jenny found herself developing new software tools to analyze and model the bears' environmental engineering projects. Her programs revealed patterns in their design choices that suggested understanding of complex environmental systems and their interconnections. The bears demonstrated ability to predict and account for seasonal changes in their technological implementations. The spring warmth provided abundant opportunities to document the bears' growing technological capabilities. They expanded their solar collection systems throughout their territory, creating networks of energy-gathering stations that served multiple purposes in the ecosystem. These installations demonstrated understanding of energy distribution and storage that paralleled advanced engineering concepts. Dr. Foster's ongoing research revealed that the bears had developed methods for using their solar technology to influence local climate conditions. They created warm microenvironments that extended the growing season for beneficial plants and provided shelter for smaller animals during cold periods. Their engineering showed remarkable awareness of environmental needs and solutions. The educational implications of these discoveries were significant. Engineering schools began sending students to study the bears' natural technology designs. The bears' intuitive approach to environmental engineering offered new perspectives on sustainable technology development and implementation. The sanctuary's research expanded to include studies of how the bears' technological understanding influenced their social organization. Their shared knowledge of environmental engineering had led to the development of cooperative construction and maintenance behaviors that suggested sophisticated project management capabilities. Dr. Zhang's studies revealed that the bears' technology went beyond simple solar energy collection. They demonstrated understanding of heat transfer, energy storage, and distribution that suggested grasp of thermodynamic principles. Their implementations often achieved remarkable efficiency using only naturally available materials. The impact on sustainable technology research was profound. The bears' methods of environmental modification offered new insights into low-impact engineering solutions. Their ability to achieve significant results using minimal resources challenged conventional approaches to environmental technology development. As spring advanced, Aurora's group began creating more sophisticated environmental modifications throughout their territory. These carefully maintained installations combined multiple technologies: solar collection, water management, and thermal regulation into integrated systems that enhanced ecosystem functionality. The research team's understanding of animal intelligence underwent significant revision as they documented the bears' technological capabilities. Their ability to conceive, implement, and maintain complex environmental engineering projects suggested levels of cognitive development that challenged fundamental assumptions about animal consciousness. Jenny found herself working at the intersection of natural and human technology. Her software development skills proved crucial in analyzing and documenting the bears' engineering solutions, creating programs that could translate their intuitive designs into data useful for human technology development. The sanctuary's focus expanded to include studies of how the bears' technological understanding influenced their interaction with human-made structures. They demonstrated remarkable ability to integrate their natural engineering solutions with existing infrastructure, creating hybrid systems that enhanced overall effectiveness. Dr. DuPont's research revealed that the bears' technology incorporated principles of biomimicry that suggested deep understanding of natural systems dynamics. Their ability to replicate and enhance natural processes demonstrated grasp of engineering concepts that went beyond simple observation and imitation. The implications for sustainable technology development were significant. The bears' environmental engineering solutions offered new approaches to creating low-impact technology that worked in harmony with natural systems. Their methods suggested possibilities for developing more sustainable human technologies. As late spring brought increasing warmth to Shadow Ridge, the sanctuary had transformed into a unique center for studying natural engineering solutions. Aurora's group had demonstrated that sophisticated technological understanding could develop through alternative forms of intelligence and interaction with the environment. These developments suggested possibilities that extended far beyond conventional engineering. The bear's technological capabilities raised fundamental questions about the nature of intelligence and its relationship to technological development. Their achievements suggested new approaches to environmental engineering that could revolutionize sustainable technology development. The warming temperatures brought new dimensions to the bear's technological capabilities as they began incorporating seasonal adaptations into their designs. Their understanding of how environmental conditions influence technology effectiveness led to the development of more flexible and responsive engineering solutions. The research team's understanding of animal intelligence continued to evolve as they documented the bear's growing technological sophistication. Their ability to grasp and implement complex engineering principles suggested levels of cognitive development that challenged conventional understanding of animal consciousness and problem-solving capabilities. The emergence of summer at Shadow Ridge coincided with an extraordinary breakthrough in understanding Aurora's true capabilities when the sanctuary received an unexpected visit from Dr. Alexei Volkov, a renowned expert in animal linguistics. His arrival was prompted by unusual sound recordings captured by the sanctuary's advanced audio monitoring system, vocalizations that seemed to follow specific patterns suggesting complex linguistic structure. The early morning fog still clung to the valley when Dr. Volkov first witnessed Aurora engaging in what he immediately recognized as deliberate sound modulation. The bear was producing sequences of vocalizations that varied in pitch, duration, and rhythm, while younger bears responded with corresponding patterns. Using specialized acoustic analysis equipment, Dr. Volkov detected subtle harmonics in these exchanges that human ears couldn't perceive. Jenny's software development expertise proved essential in creating programs to analyze these complex sound patterns. Her algorithms revealed structured sequences that suggested not just communication, but actual language development. The bears were using combinations of sounds that demonstrated fundamental linguistic properties, syntax, semantics, and even what appeared to be grammatical rules. The arrival of Dr. Maya Patel, a cognitive linguist from Cambridge University, brought additional perspective to these discoveries. Her analysis revealed that the bear's vocalizations contained elements similar to those found in human language development, including distinct sound units that functioned like phonemes and morphemes. The bears demonstrated ability to combine these units in ways that created new meanings. Aurora's teaching methods evolved to include sophisticated vocal instruction. The research team observed as she guided younger bears through what appeared to be language lessons, correcting their vocalizations and demonstrating proper sound combinations. This structured approach to language transmission suggested understanding of pedagogical principles previously thought unique to human society. Mr. Wilson's historical knowledge provided valuable context once again. He recalled how old-timers in the region had often spoken of bears that seemed to talk to each other in unusual ways, observations that had been dismissed as folklore, but now appeared to be early documentation of this linguistic development. The sanctuary's emerging reputation as a center for animal language studies attracted Dr. Isabella Torres, a specialist in comparative linguistics. Her research revealed that the bear's communication system included elements found in multiple human languages, suggesting they had developed their own unique approach to linguistic structure that borrowed from various communication strategies. The impact of these discoveries on the scientific community was profound. The bears demonstrated ability to create new vocalizations for novel situations, showing linguistic productivity that suggested true language rather than just learned responses. They exhibited understanding of abstract concepts through sound, combinations that could convey complex ideas. Jenny found herself developing increasingly sophisticated analysis tools as the bear's language capabilities expanded. Her programs revealed patterns in their communication that suggested understanding of temporal concepts, spatial relationships, and even hypothetical scenarios, all conveyed through their evolving vocabulary of sounds. The summer heat brought new dimensions to the bear's linguistic development as they began incorporating seasonal references into their communication. Their vocalizations included specific sound patterns related to weather conditions, food availability, and environmental changes, creating what amounted to a context-sensitive vocabulary. Dr. Volkov's ongoing research revealed that the bears had developed distinct dialects within their group, with subtle variations in sound patterns that seemed to indicate social relationships and status. Their language demonstrated sophistication in expressing complex social concepts and relationships. The educational implications of these discoveries were significant. Linguistics departments worldwide began incorporating studies of the bear's language development into their research programs. The bear's approach to language acquisition offered new insights into how communication systems naturally evolve and develop. The sanctuary's research expanded to include studies of how the bear's language capabilities influenced their social organization. Their sophisticated communication system had led to the development of complex social behaviors and relationships that suggested advanced understanding of group dynamics. Dr. Patel's studies revealed that the bear's language included elements of meta-communication. They could communicate about communication itself. This suggested levels of cognitive sophistication previously thought impossible in non-human species. The bears demonstrated ability to reflect on and modify their communication methods. The influence of the bear's linguistic development extended to their interactions with other species. They began developing specific vocalizations for communicating with different animals, creating what amounted to a cross-species translation system. This suggested understanding of audience and context in communication. As summer progressed, Aurora's group began creating what appeared to be permanent sound markers throughout their territory. These specific locations were used for particular types of vocal communication, suggesting understanding of acoustic properties and sound propagation in different environments. The research team's understanding of animal intelligence underwent significant revision as they documented the bear's linguistic capabilities. Their ability to develop and transmit complex language suggested levels of cognitive development that challenged fundamental assumptions about the nature of communication and consciousness. Jenny found herself working at the intersection of technology and linguistics, developing new tools to capture and analyze the increasingly complex patterns in the bear's communication. Her programs revealed subtle relationships between sound patterns and meaning that suggested sophisticated understanding of linguistic principles. The sanctuary's focus expanded to include studies of how the bear's language capabilities influenced their problem-solving abilities. Their sophisticated communication system allowed them to coordinate complex group activities and share information about environmental challenges and solutions. Dr. Torres's research revealed that the bear's language incorporated elements of musical structure, with rhythm and tonal variations that suggested understanding of sound as both communication and artistic expression. Their vocalizations often included elements that seemed designed for aesthetic as well as practical purposes. The implications for linguistic theory were significant. The bear's language development offered new perspectives on how communication systems naturally evolve and adapt. Their achievements suggested possibilities for understanding the origins and development of language itself. As summer reached its peak, Shadow Ridge had transformed into a unique center for studying animal language development. Aurora's group had demonstrated that sophisticated linguistic capabilities could emerge through alternative forms of intelligence and social organization. These developments suggested possibilities that extended far beyond conventional linguistics. The bears' language capabilities raised fundamental questions about the nature of communication and its relationship to consciousness. Their achievements suggested new approaches to understanding how language evolves and develops in intelligent systems. The warm days brought new dimensions to the bears' communication as they began incorporating more complex emotional expressions into their language. Their vocalizations demonstrated ability to convey subtle emotional states and complex social relationships through sophisticated sound combinations. The research team's understanding of animal intelligence continued to evolve as they documented the bears' growing linguistic sophistication. Their ability to develop and use complex language suggested levels of cognitive development that challenged conventional understanding of animal consciousness and communication capabilities. A midsummer discovery at Shadow Ridge revealed an entirely unexpected dimension to Aurora's capabilities, when the sanctuary's night vision cameras captured footage of the bears engaging in what appeared to be deliberate astronomical observations. Dr. Rebecca Stewart, an astrobiology researcher who had been following the sanctuary's work, arrived within days of receiving the footage, her expertise offering crucial insight into what they were witnessing. The bears had created clearings throughout their territory that served as observation points, carefully positioned to track specific celestial movements. Their behavior suggested not just casual stargazing, but methodical study of cosmic phenomena. Aurora would guide younger bears through these clearings during clear nights, their movements synchronized with the passage of celestial bodies overhead. Jenny's technological expertise proved vital in documenting these astronomical activities. She developed specialized tracking software that correlated the bears' movements with celestial events, revealing patterns that suggested sophisticated understanding of astronomical cycles. The bears demonstrated ability to predict and prepare for various celestial phenomena, from meteor showers to planetary alignments. The arrival of Dr. Carlos Mendoza, a specialist in archaeoastronomy, brought historical perspective to these discoveries. His analysis revealed striking similarities between the bears' astronomical observation methods and ancient human astronomical practices. The bears had created their own version of astronomical observatories, using natural materials and precise geometric arrangements to track celestial movements. Aurora's teaching methods incorporated celestial observation into her regular instruction of younger bears. The research team watched as she guided her students through complex observation sequences, demonstrating how to track specific stars and planets across the night sky. This systematic approach to astronomical education suggested understanding of both observational techniques and celestial mechanics. Mr. Wilson's historical knowledge once again provided valuable context. He remembered local indigenous stories about bears who read the stars, tales that had been dismissed as metaphorical, but now appeared to document early observations of this remarkable behavior. The bears' astronomical knowledge seemed to connect to ancient traditions of celestial observation. The sanctuary's reputation attracted Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a specialist in comparative astronomy from the National Astronomical Observatory of Japan. Her research revealed that the bears' understanding of celestial movements included sophisticated predictions of seasonal changes based on stellar positions. They demonstrated ability to correlate astronomical observations with earthly phenomena. The impact on the scientific community was profound. The bears showed understanding of celestial cycles that went beyond simple pattern recognition, suggesting grasp of fundamental astronomical principles. Their observational techniques offered new perspectives on how intelligence might develop understanding of cosmic phenomena through direct observation. Jenny found herself developing increasingly complex analysis tools as the bears' astronomical activities expanded. Her programs revealed patterns in their observation methods that suggested understanding of various celestial cycles, from lunar phases to planetary movements. The bears demonstrated ability to track and respond to multiple astronomical phenomena simultaneously. The summer nights provided perfect conditions for documenting the bears' growing astronomical capabilities. They expanded their network of observation points throughout their territory, creating what amounted to a distributed observatory system. Each location was carefully chosen and maintained for optimal viewing of specific celestial events. Dr. Stewart's ongoing research revealed that the bears had developed methods for sharing astronomical knowledge that combined physical demonstration with their sophisticated communication system. They created what appeared to be star maps using natural materials, arrangements that could be modified to show celestial movements and relationships. The educational implications of these discoveries were significant. Astronomy programs began, incorporating study of the bears' observational techniques into their research. The bears' intuitive approach to understanding celestial mechanics offered new perspectives on teaching astronomical concepts. The sanctuary's research expanded to include studies of how the bears' astronomical knowledge influenced their environmental management. Their understanding of celestial cycles appeared to inform their decisions about resource management and seasonal preparations, suggesting sophisticated integration of cosmic and terrestrial awareness. Dr. Mendoza's studies revealed that the bears' astronomical observations included tracking of subtle celestial phenomena that even modern human observers sometimes missed. Their sensitivity to cosmic events suggested perceptual capabilities that extended beyond normal ursine sensory ranges. The influence of the bears' astronomical activities extended to their social organization. They developed cooperative observation, practices that suggested understanding of the value of multiple perspectives in astronomical study. Their group activities demonstrated sophisticated coordination and knowledge sharing. As summer reached its peak, Aurora's group began creating more elaborate astronomical installations throughout their territory. These carefully maintained sites combined observational tools with teaching spaces, suggesting development of formal astronomical education practices within their society. The research team's understanding of animal intelligence underwent significant revision as they documented the bears' astronomical capabilities. Their ability to comprehend and track celestial phenomena suggested levels of cognitive development that challenged fundamental assumptions about animal awareness and perception. Jenny found herself working at the intersection of technology and natural science, developing new tools to document and analyze the bears' astronomical observations. Her programs revealed sophisticated patterns in their celestial tracking methods that suggested deep understanding of cosmic relationships. The sanctuary's focus expanded to include studies of how the bears' astronomical knowledge influenced their prediction capabilities. Their understanding of celestial cycles allowed them to anticipate and prepare for various natural phenomena tied to astronomical events. Dr. Tanaka's research revealed that the bears' astronomical knowledge incorporated understanding of concepts like celestial navigation and seasonal timing. Their observations demonstrated grasp of how cosmic cycles influence terrestrial events, suggesting sophisticated understanding of environmental relationships. The implications for astronomical science were significant. The bears' observational Techniques offered new perspectives on how intelligence might naturally develop understanding of cosmic phenomena. Their achievements suggested possibilities for developing new approaches to astronomical observation and education. As the summer nights grew longer, Shadow Ridge had transformed into a unique center for studying natural astronomical observation methods. Aurora's group had demonstrated that sophisticated understanding of celestial phenomena could develop through alternative forms of intelligence and perception. These developments suggested possibilities that extended far beyond conventional astronomy. The Bears' celestial observation capabilities raised fundamental questions about the nature of cosmic awareness and its relationship to intelligence. Their achievements suggested new approaches to understanding how consciousness might develop awareness of cosmic phenomena. The warm nights brought new dimensions to the Bears' astronomical activities as they began incorporating more complex predictive elements into their observations. Their understanding of celestial cycles demonstrated ability to anticipate and prepare for cosmic events that influence their environment. The research team's understanding of animal intelligence continued to evolve as they documented the Bears' growing astronomical sophistication. Their ability to comprehend and respond to celestial phenomena suggested levels of cognitive development that challenged conventional understanding of animal consciousness and cosmic awareness. The height of summer at Shadow Ridge brought an unexpected revelation when the sanctuary's advanced imaging equipment captured Aurora's group, engaging in what appeared to be deliberate artistic creation. Dr. Miranda Chen, a specialist in animal cognition and artistic expression, arrived at the sanctuary after viewing footage of the Bears using natural pigments to create intricate designs on rock faces and tree bark. The Bears had discovered naturally occurring ochres and other mineral pigments in their territory, learning to mix these with various organic materials to create lasting colors. Their artwork demonstrated understanding of composition, color theory, and symbolic representation that suggested sophisticated aesthetic awareness. Aurora would guide younger Bears through the process of creating these works, showing them how to prepare pigments and apply them in specific patterns. Jenny's technological background proved essential in documenting and analyzing these artistic developments. She created specialized imaging software that could track the evolution of the Bears' artistic techniques, revealing patterns that suggested deliberate stylistic choices and symbolic meaning. The Bears demonstrated ability to create works that communicated complex ideas through visual representation. The arrival of Dr. Antonio Romano, an expert in prehistoric art, brought historical perspective to these discoveries. His analysis revealed striking parallels between the Bears' artistic expressions and early human cave paintings. The Bears had developed their own unique artistic language that combined naturalistic representation with abstract symbolism. Aurora's teaching methods evolved to include detailed instruction in artistic techniques. The research team observed as she demonstrated different methods of pigment application, showing younger Bears how to create various effects and combine different materials. This structured approach to artistic education suggested understanding of both technical skills and aesthetic principles. Mr. Wilson's historical knowledge once again provided valuable context. He remembered stories of distinctive markings found in the forest that had been attributed to natural causes, but now appeared to be early examples of the Bears' artistic expression. These historical observations suggested a longer tradition of artistic activity than initially suspected. The sanctuary's reputation attracted Dr. Sarah O'Connor, a specialist in cognitive aesthetics. Her research revealed that the Bears' artwork included sophisticated use of perspective and spatial relationships that suggested understanding of three-dimensional representation. They demonstrated ability to translate complex environmental observations into two-dimensional, artistic expressions. The impact on the scientific community was profound. The bears showed understanding of artistic principles that went beyond simple mark-making, suggesting grasp of fundamental concepts in visual communication. Their artistic techniques offered new perspectives on the development of aesthetic awareness in non-human species. Jenny found herself developing increasingly sophisticated analysis tools as the bears' artistic activities expanded. Her programs revealed patterns in their creative choices that suggested understanding of color harmony, compositional balance, and symbolic meaning. The bears demonstrated ability to create works that conveyed both literal and abstract concepts. The summer sunlight provided perfect conditions for documenting the bears' growing artistic capabilities. They expanded their creative activities throughout their territory, creating what amounted to an open-air gallery of works that documented their experiences and observations. Each location was carefully chosen for its natural lighting and visibility. Dr. Chen's ongoing research revealed that the bears had developed methods for teaching artistic techniques that combined physical demonstration with their sophisticated communication system. They created what appeared to be practice areas where younger bears could experiment with different materials and techniques under guidance. The educational implications of these discoveries were significant. Art programs began incorporating study of the bears' creative processes into their research. The bears' intuitive approach to artistic expression offered new perspectives on teaching visual communication and aesthetic principles. The sanctuary's research expanded to include studies of how the bears' artistic activities influence their social organization. Their creative practices had led to the development of collaborative artistic projects that suggested understanding of collective expression and shared aesthetic vision. Dr. Romano's studies revealed that the bears' artwork included elements of narrative storytelling, with sequences of images that appeared to document events and experiences. Their visual narratives suggested understanding of temporal relationships and cause and effect in storytelling. The influence of the bears' artistic activities extended to their environmental awareness. They began incorporating natural features into their artwork, creating installations that worked with the landscape to produce specific visual effects. This suggested sophisticated understanding of environmental aesthetics and site-specific art. As summer reached its peak, Aurora's group began creating more elaborate artistic works throughout their territory. These carefully maintained pieces combined multiple techniques and materials, suggesting development of complex artistic practices within their society. The research team's understanding of animal intelligence underwent significant revision as they documented the bears' artistic capabilities. Their ability to create meaningful visual expressions suggested levels of cognitive development that challenged fundamental assumptions about animal consciousness and creativity. Jenny found herself working at the intersection of technology and art, developing new tools to document and analyze the bears' creative processes. Her programs revealed sophisticated patterns in their artistic choices that suggested deep understanding of visual communication principles. The sanctuary's focus expanded to include studies of how the bears' artistic expression influenced their communication capabilities. Their visual language allowed them to convey complex ideas and experiences that complemented their vocal communication system. Dr. O'Connor's research revealed that the bears' artwork incorporated elements of abstract representation that suggested understanding of symbolic thinking. Their creative expressions demonstrated ability to represent complex concepts through visual metaphor and abstraction. The implications for art theory were significant. The bears' artistic development offered new perspectives on how aesthetic Awareness naturally evolves in intelligent beings. Their achievements suggested possibilities for understanding the origins and development of artistic expression itself. As summer reached its zenith, Shadow Ridge had transformed into a unique center for studying natural artistic development. Aurora's group had demonstrated that sophisticated creative expression could emerge through alternative forms of intelligence and perception. These developments suggested possibilities that extended far beyond conventional art theory. The Bears' artistic capabilities raised fundamental questions about the nature of creativity and its relationship to consciousness. Their achievements suggested new approaches to understanding how aesthetic awareness develops in intelligent systems. The warm days brought new dimensions to the Bears' artistic activities as they began incorporating more complex symbolic elements into their work. Their visual expressions demonstrated ability to convey sophisticated concepts and relationships through carefully chosen artistic techniques. The research team's understanding of animal intelligence continued to evolve as they documented the Bears' growing artistic sophistication. Their ability to create meaningful visual art suggested levels of cognitive development that challenged conventional understanding of animal consciousness and creative expression. The late summer heat brought an extraordinary discovery at Shadow Ridge, when the sanctuary's monitoring systems detected Aurora's group engaging in what appeared to be organized musical activities. Dr. Elena Petrov, an ethnomusicologist specializing in the origins of musical expression, arrived at the sanctuary after analyzing recordings that suggested deliberate rhythmic and tonal patterns in the Bears' vocalizations and environmental interactions. The Bears had discovered that different natural materials produced distinct sounds when struck or manipulated, creating what amounted to primitive musical instruments. Their performances demonstrated understanding of rhythm, melody, and harmony that suggested sophisticated auditory awareness. Aurora would guide younger bears through what appeared to be structured musical instruction, teaching them to create specific sound patterns and combinations. Jenny's software development expertise proved crucial in analyzing these musical developments. She created specialized audio processing programs that could identify and track patterns in the bears' musical expressions, revealing structures that suggested intentional composition rather than random noise. The Bears demonstrated ability to create complex musical arrangements that conveyed specific moods and meanings. The arrival of Dr. Marcus Thompson, an expert in evolutionary musicology, brought new perspective to these discoveries. His analysis revealed that the bears' musical expressions shared fundamental characteristics with early human music, suggesting similar pathways in the development of organized sound. The bears had created their own unique musical language that combined rhythmic complexity with tonal variation. Aurora's teaching methods incorporated sophisticated musical instruction techniques. The research team observed as she demonstrated different methods of sound production, showing younger bears how to create various tonal effects and combine different rhythmic patterns. This structured approach to musical education suggested understanding of both technical skills and artistic expression. Mr. Wilson's historical observations provided valuable context once again. He recalled stories of unusual rhythmic sounds heard in the forest at dawn and dusk, phenomena that had been attributed to natural causes, but now appeared to be early documentation of the bears' musical activities. These historical accounts suggested a longer tradition of musical expression than initially suspected. The sanctuary's reputation attracted Dr. Maria Santos, a specialist in bioacoustics from the University of São Paulo. Her research revealed that the bears' musical expressions included sophisticated use of harmonics and overtones that suggested understanding of complex sound relationships. They demonstrated ability to create music that resonated with natural frequencies in their environment. The impact on the scientific community was profound. The bears showed understanding of musical principles that went beyond simple sound production, suggesting grasp of fundamental concepts in auditory organization and expression. Their musical techniques offered new perspectives on the development of musical awareness in non-human species. Jenny found herself developing increasingly sophisticated audio analysis tools as the bears' musical activities expanded. Her programs revealed patterns in their compositional choices that suggested understanding of musical structure, thematic development, and emotional expression. The bears demonstrated ability to create works that conveyed both simple and complex musical ideas. The summer evenings provided perfect conditions for documenting the bears' growing musical capabilities. They expanded their performances throughout their territory, creating what amounted to a network of natural concert spaces where different groups would gather to create and share musical expressions. Each location was carefully chosen for its acoustic properties. Dr. Petrov's ongoing research revealed that the bears had developed methods for teaching musical techniques that combined physical demonstration with their sophisticated communication system. They created what appeared to be practice areas where younger bears could experiment with different sounds and rhythms under guidance. The educational implications of these discoveries were significant. Music programs began incorporating study of the bears' musical development into their research. The bears' intuitive approach to musical expression offered new perspectives on teaching rhythm, melody, and musical structure. The sanctuary's research expanded to include studies of how the bears' musical activities influenced their social organization. Their performances had led to the development of coordinated group activities that suggested understanding of ensemble playing and collective expression. Dr. Thompson's studies revealed that the bears' music included elements of call and response, patterns with different members of the group taking turns leading and responding in structured musical dialogues. Their musical interactions suggested understanding of musical conversation and improvisation. The influence of the bears' musical activities extended to their environmental awareness. They began incorporating natural sounds into their compositions, creating works that integrated wind, water, and other environmental elements. This suggested sophisticated understanding of soundscape composition and acoustic ecology. As summer began transitioning toward autumn, Aurora's group developed more elaborate musical expressions throughout their territory. These carefully orchestrated performances combined multiple sound sources and rhythmic patterns, suggesting development of complex musical practices within their society. The research team's understanding of animal intelligence underwent significant revision as they documented the bears' musical capabilities. Their ability to create meaningful musical expressions suggested levels of cognitive development that challenged fundamental assumptions about animal consciousness and artistic creation. Jenny found herself working at the intersection of technology and musicology, developing new tools to document and analyze the bears' musical processes. Her programs revealed sophisticated patterns in their musical choices that suggested deep understanding of sound organization and expression. The sanctuary's focus expanded to include studies of how the bears' musical expression influenced their other forms of communication. Their sound-based art allowed them to convey complex emotional states and experiences that complemented their other communication methods. Dr. Santos's research revealed that the bears' music incorporated elements of natural harmony that suggested understanding of acoustic principles. Their musical expressions demonstrated ability to work with environmental acoustics to create specific sonic effects. The implications for music theory were significant. The bears' musical development offered new perspectives on how auditory awareness naturally evolves in intelligent beings. Their achievements suggested possibilities for understanding the origins and development of musical expression itself. As the season began to change, Shadow Ridge had transformed into a unique center for studying natural musical development. Aurora's group had demonstrated that sophisticated musical expression could emerge through alternative forms of intelligence and perception. These developments suggested possibilities that extended far beyond conventional music theory. The bears' musical capabilities raised fundamental questions about the nature of artistic expression and its relationship to consciousness. Their achievements suggested new approaches to understanding how musical awareness develops in intelligent systems. The changing season brought new dimensions to the bears' musical activities as they began incorporating more complex emotional elements into their work. Their musical expressions demonstrated ability to convey sophisticated feelings and relationships through carefully chosen sonic techniques. The research team's understanding of animal intelligence continued to evolve as they documented the bears' growing musical sophistication. Their ability to create meaningful musical art suggested levels of cognitive development that challenged conventional understanding of animal consciousness and artistic expression. The first hints of autumn brought an unexpected culmination to the Shadow Ridge saga, when Dr. Richard Hammond, a quantum physicist, noticed unusual patterns in the sanctuary's electromagnetic field readings. The bears had begun gathering in specific locations during dawn and dusk hours, their activities coinciding with measurable fluctuations in local quantum fields that defied conventional explanation. The discovery prompted the arrival of Dr. Sophia Valdez, a specialist in consciousness studies and quantum cognition. Her advanced sensing equipment detected coherent quantum states emanating from the bears during their gatherings, suggesting they had developed ability to influence quantum fields through collective consciousness. Aurora appeared to be teaching younger bears specific techniques for accessing and manipulating these quantum states. Jenny's programming expertise proved invaluable in tracking these quantum phenomena. She developed specialized software that could map the correlation between the bears' activities and quantum field fluctuations, revealing patterns that suggested deliberate manipulation rather than random occurrence. The bears demonstrated ability to create stable quantum states that persisted far longer than theoretically possible. The arrival of Dr. James Chen, a pioneer in quantum biology, brought revolutionary perspective to these discoveries. His research revealed that the bears had developed methods for utilizing quantum effects in their cognitive processes, suggesting they had evolved capabilities that bridged classical and quantum realms. Their achievements challenged fundamental assumptions about consciousness and its relationship to quantum mechanics. Aurora's teaching methods incorporated sophisticated quantum awareness training. The research team observed as she guided younger bears through exercises that appeared to strengthen their ability to influence quantum states. This structured approach suggested understanding of both practical techniques and underlying principles of quantum manipulation. Mr. Wilson's historical knowledge provided unexpected context. He remembered stories of strange lights and unexplained phenomena around bear gatherings, accounts that had been dismissed as superstition, but now appeared to document early manifestations of the bear's quantum capabilities. These historical observations suggested a long evolution of these extraordinary abilities. The sanctuary's reputation attracted Dr. Michelle Wong, a theoretical physicist specializing in quantum consciousness theories. Her research revealed that the bears had developed methods for achieving quantum coherence at biological temperatures, something previously thought impossible. They demonstrated ability to maintain quantum states that should have collapsed under normal environmental conditions. The impact on the scientific community was revolutionary. The bears showed understanding of quantum principles that went beyond theoretical predictions, suggesting grasp of fundamental aspects of reality previously hidden from human comprehension. Their quantum manipulation techniques offered new perspectives on the relationship between consciousness and quantum mechanics. Jenny found herself developing increasingly sophisticated analysis tools as the bears' quantum activities expanded. Her programs revealed patterns in their quantum interactions that suggested understanding of entanglement, superposition, and other quantum phenomena. The bears demonstrated ability to create and maintain quantum states that defied classical physical limitations. As autumn colors began to emerge, the bears expanded their quantum activities throughout their territory, creating what appeared to be a network of quantum-entangled locations. Each site showed evidence of persistent quantum coherence, suggesting the bears had discovered methods for stabilizing quantum effects in natural environments. Dr. Valdez's ongoing research revealed that the bears had developed methods for teaching a quantum awareness that combined physical demonstration with their sophisticated communication system. They created what appeared to be training areas where younger bears could practice influencing quantum states under guidance. The educational implications were profound. Physics departments worldwide began incorporating study of the bears' quantum manipulation techniques into their research. The bears' intuitive approach to quantum mechanics offered new perspectives on understanding and utilizing quantum phenomena. The sanctuary's research expanded to include studies of how the bears' quantum capabilities influenced their other abilities. Their quantum awareness appeared to enhance their mathematical, musical, and artistic expressions, suggesting deep connections between quantum consciousness and creative expression. Dr. Chen's studies revealed that the bears' quantum manipulation included elements of temporal awareness that suggested understanding of quantum time effects. Their activities demonstrated ability to influence quantum states in ways that hinted at deeper temporal relationships than classical physics could explain. The influence of the bears' quantum activities extended to their environmental impact. They began using their quantum manipulation abilities to influence ecological processes at the quantum level, creating effects that rippled through the entire ecosystem. This suggested sophisticated understanding of the quantum foundations of biological systems. As autumn deepened, Aurora's group developed more elaborate quantum manipulation techniques. These carefully orchestrated activities combined multiple bears working in synchronization to create large-scale quantum effects, suggesting development of collective quantum consciousness within their society. The research team's understanding of consciousness underwent revolutionary revision as they documented the bears' quantum capabilities. Their ability to consciously influence quantum states suggested levels of awareness that challenged fundamental assumptions about the nature of consciousness itself. Jenny found herself working at the frontiers of quantum computing, developing new tools to document and analyze the bears' quantum processes. Her programs revealed sophisticated patterns in their quantum manipulations that suggested deep understanding of quantum mechanical principles. The sanctuary's focus expanded to include studies of how the bears' quantum awareness influenced their perception of reality. Their quantum capabilities allowed them to access and process information in ways that transcended classical limitations, suggesting new possibilities for understanding consciousness and reality. Dr. Wong's research revealed that the bears' quantum activities incorporated elements of non-local consciousness that suggested understanding of quantum entanglement at a biological level. Their quantum expressions demonstrated ability to create and maintain quantum coherence across significant distances. The implications for physics were revolutionary. The Bears' quantum capabilities offered new perspectives on how consciousness interacts with quantum systems. Their achievements suggested possibilities for understanding the fundamental nature of reality and consciousness. As autumn colors peaked, Shadow Ridge had transformed into a unique center for studying quantum consciousness. Aurora's group had demonstrated that sophisticated quantum awareness could emerge through alternative forms of intelligence and perception. These developments suggested possibilities that extended far beyond conventional physics. The Bears' quantum capabilities raised fundamental questions about the nature of consciousness and its role in shaping reality. Their achievements suggested new approaches to understanding how consciousness interacts with the quantum realm. The changing season brought new dimensions to the Bears' quantum activities as they began incorporating more complex collective effects. Their quantum expressions demonstrated ability to create and maintain quantum states that could influence both consciousness and physical reality. The research team's understanding of reality continued to evolve as they documented the Bears' growing quantum sophistication. Their ability to consciously manipulate quantum states suggested levels of awareness that challenged conventional understanding of consciousness and its role in the universe. Up next, you've got two more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out.